Welcome to My Weekly Mixtape, a podcast that takes the classic mixtape approach to building a modern playlist. I'm your host, Brian Colburn. On tonight's episode, we are going to go back a few years, back to 2019, back to the Tune Styles days, and back to one of the most interesting interviews that I have ever been a part of. Back in 2019, Jay Sweet and I had a chance to sit down with Bill Manspeaker, who is the mastermind behind Green Jellö, a group that I'm sure you remember for their claymation music video in the 1990s, Three Little Pigs. That is just the tip of the iceberg that is the Bill Manspeaker story. This interview, I will go on record immediately and say it's not safe for work. Let me repeat, it is not safe for work. So if you're at work and you're listening on your speakers, My Weekly Mixtape takes no responsibility on any repercussions you have for not listening to the warning I'm giving you right now. I would also not play this one in front of the kids, but beyond all of that, if you're just listening on your headphones, this is a ridiculously fascinating interview that Jay and I were both bummed was one of the ones that got nuked when Tune Styles ended its run. So I'm so glad to be able to present this to you. And I can also say this story goes up to 2019, obviously. We haven't talked about the last 6 years of the band because it was recorded prior to that. But I digress. This is an extremely fun and fascinating sit down, so I'm really excited to share it with everybody. But before I do that, if you like what you're hearing on My Weekly Mixtape week in and week out, you can help me out by either telling a friend about the show, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a part of the Patreon Mixtaper community at patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. There you'll find ad-free episodes of the show, gain immediate access to future My Weekly Mixtape episodes, hear exclusive bonus banter clips, chime in on upcoming show topics, and so much more. Once again, that's patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. And without further ado, I bring you the Tune Styles 2019 interview with Bill Manspeaker of Green Jellö. Enjoy it. We are here with Bill Manspeaker, the punk rock puppet master for Green Jellö.
Howdy there, kids. Bill Manspeaker, punk rock puppet master, Green Jellö. And I'm here to say one thing and one thing only. Be the laziest you can possibly be in your entire life. Never get a job and never own anything, because the more you own, the less shit you will do. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
You are starting with the knowledge. I'm loving this.
Dropping the truth.
Right from the beginning.
Oh, it's the simplest ever, man. The more you own, the less shit gets done.
Well, I'm here to tell the listeners right now that you guys are going to be hit with a ton of surprises in this interview.
Oh, yes.
The first being the fact that Green Jellö turns 38 years old this year.
Holy shit. Wow, that's crazy. I've been in my band longer than I have not been in my band.
So with that being said, 38 years ago, how did Green Jellö begin?
Really super simple. I tried my best to be a musician. I tried playing drums. I failed. Tried bass, failed. Guitar, failed. Sing, piano, you name it. Skin flute, I couldn't even play it. Everything I did was complete failure in music. In fact, I actually joined the choir in 5th grade. And they told me that I could still continue to be in the choir as long as I pretend to sing, because my vocals were throwing the other children off. True story. High school have absolutely nothing to do with my life except for doing drugs and drinking alcohol. And there we are when my 12th grader friends were doing bongs, we're drinking beer. And it's a Wednesday night and we're bored as hell. And my friend comes in right after dinner and says, "Hey, I have a great name for a punk rock band, Green Jellö. My mom just gave it to me for dessert, and it was the worst food in the world. It can certainly be the worst band in the world." And right then, on January 18th, 1981, the world's worst band was created before a member was even in it, all with no musical ability. Zero, zilch, nothing. And I'm not even kidding. It's not even like this joke that I'm playing and, saying, well, Kiss is the hardest band in the land. No, I have the world's worst band. and a long time ago, when I wanted to be a musician, and again, a long time ago, there was this huge line. God, there was thousands of people long, everybody wanting to be the best. Everybody sleeping out for years and this ever fucking moving. And I look over in the line to be the worst, not one person. In fact, they had a sign up, help wanted. I went in there, I fucking employed myself. I said, I am number one. And ever since that day, I've had the shittiest band in the world. And now, 38 years later, there are over 900 Green Jellö members throughout Canada, the United States, Mexico, Bahamas, Alaska, England, Scotland, Europe, Czech Republic, and of course, Switzerland.
900 band members.
900. I have Guinness Book of World Records for the world's largest band in music history. Not only do I own, create, and embrace being the world's worst band, but I'm also the world's largest band in music history. Many, many, many silly records to be broken with a crappy band.
So let me ask you this. Bands with 2 members break up because of internal conflicts.
A bunch of fucking sissy-ass motherfuckers.
How do you keep 900 band members getting along?
It becomes so less complicated. Every single week, I have a brand new band. So when I'm in Tennessee, Luke doesn't give 2 shits that John's girlfriend was sucking last week in Idaho. He doesn't care. So whatever drama happens the week before, it stays there. Whatever happens in Green Jellö stays in Green Jellö because the next group of people don't give a rat's ass. And what's also great about it is every single band has its own personality and they play the song a completely different way. So every week, it's like being in a band fresh again because you have that excitement, you have that encouragement, you have that willingness to succeed. And when you're in a band with the same amount of people for 39 years, all that enthusiasm probably leaves about the first, second, or third month of any sort of tour, and everybody hates each other. So what I found is the perfect formula. You can tolerate somebody for 3 days in a band, and then that's it. And then after that, you're pushing your luck. So I just tour with the band 3 days a week, 125 times a year, 1,250 times every decade, nonstop, 250,000 miles traveled per year, all because I found the correct formula. Never have the same people in your band more than 3 days.
Sir, you're a genius. You have solved the mysteries of touring.
There you have it.
It was easy. And at that point, it didn't matter if I had any talent or not. I had enough band members to have like 87 bands going. So it really doesn't matter. Quantity, not quality, quantity.
So how do you weed through 900 band members to find the true rock stars here?
It's really not that hard. You can see everybody's potential by the third day. If they're drinking, doing drugs, and chasing the fat chick, this guy's not going to go anywhere in life. But if he's focused, learns the song, and he's embracing every single moment, then you take them everywhere you go. You take them on the trip to Sweden, you play in front of 7,000 people. You take them to Mexico City, you play in front of 12,000 people. It's not about playing in front of 20 of your friends. It's about living to your full potential. And I don't care if there's one person in the audience or 1,000. If I see that you're living to your full potential, I'm going to bring you to every show that I got that's amazing. And if I see you're just fucking off, well, we're just going to play the fuck off shows all together, and nobody will remember.
Green Jellö sucks has always been the band's mantra, and you've said it yourself. You call yourselves the quote-unquote worst band ever.
Correct.
How do you uphold that reputation?
Well, it's really easy when you have absolutely no musical talent whatsoever. You know, like music baffles me as algebra would baffle, you know, a gamer kid. You know, so to continue to be the worst band is easy when you really still have no musical knowledge. You would think that after 39 years that accidentally I would figure it out. Nope. It's like accidentally figuring out how to calculate the direction to the moon. You can't just stumble on this equation. You got to have some sort of knowledge. And my musical knowledge is zero. So, you know, I can proudly claim that not only do I have the world's worst band, but I was the first one to actually have one. I was the first one to be proud of it. I was the first one to say, hey, I'm number one in this line. You're number fucking two. Get behind me. I am the worst. And let me see what you can do to prove that you're the worst. Because what I have is I have documented proof on CBS television, the Colombian Broadcasting System, in 1987. I got in my car and I drove 3,000 miles to be on this game show called the Gong Show. You can look this up on YouTube, Green Jellö Gong Show, 1987. It was a game show that you went on, and it was kind of like America's Got Talent, but you went on there to make an ass out of yourself, and you won some stupid prize. Well, I'm the only one that actually wanted to win the stupid prize. I was the only one to actually want to be a jackass. So I got in my car, drove 3,000 miles. I got gonged on national television. I won a year supply of Lee press-on nails, which, by the way, is a box, okay? I told all my friends they had Lee press-on nails for the rest of their life. Big truck shows up. I'm thinking, here's my payout, my Lee press-on nails. UPS guy comes out with one little box with 6 pairs of nails. All right? You want to talk about being ripped off? Wait until you get your prize for being the worst band in the world and you get gypped on Lee press-on nails. Let me tell you something.
That is very hard to top.
It is. I have the Lee press-on nails still to prove it. And I defy anyone that's out there to prove that their band has been the worst band in the world before 1987. I've been saying this for 22 years.
So the next question I have to ask, Joey Ramone singled the band out
Went
as
on
well.
public record saying that we were the worst band to ever play with the Ramones.
How did you make that happen?
Well, my friend, there's many ways to piss off the Ramones. So it's the year 1985. I'm doing lots of drugs. I'm doing a lot of alcohol at the punk rock club in Buffalo, New York. And I'm passing out flyers for my next show. And I decided they were having all this food for Africa stuff. So I decided that I was going to throw a concert to have desserts for the children of Africa. So after they ate their food, they could at least have some sort of dessert. So I'm passing out flyers for my Jell-O for Africa show. And some guy says, hey, man, can I go? And I said, no. He goes, I'll let you open up for the Ramones. And I said, sure, here you go. Literally traded him to sing on this stupid song about giving desserts to children for Africa. I actually traded him a position to play with the Ramones. And then later on, I made him my roommate. And then he let me open all the good shows. So again, here it goes. You don't have to be in a good band to open for these giant bands. All you got to do is get a roommate who's the promoter, and he'll let you do it for free.
So now the logical question, Bill, is, are any of your former 5th grade choir members now members of the 900 Strong?
No, they are not. I don't think any of those people from my choir class have any idea what I do for a living. In fact, if they did, I'm sure they would be appalled.
That's what I was just going to say. I'm sure they would. That would be comedy in and of itself, though, right there, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, nothing like choir class at Catholic school in 1972.
So another interesting fact about Green Jellö that the riders might not know is that you guys hold the record for the biggest selling debut record in England's chart history.
Yeah, isn't that stupid?
That's insane. Given the state of the music industry now, do you ever expect that to be toppled?
Oh, no. In fact, when the United States record company was promoting it to the overseas record company, they actually flew the president of the record company out, for the weekend, partied them up in friggin' Beverly Hills, gave them drugs, gave them hookers, and, really trying to get them to push the record. And on the way to the airport, the president of the record company from the United States asked the president of the record company from England if he was going to start promoting that record. And the cassette was in the cassette player of the car rental. He pressed eject and threw it out the side view window. So the answer was no. Yes, and then it wound up being the biggest selling single in England's music history.
Wow.
Or a debut single. That means like a band that's never been on the charts.
Of course, yeah.
In which it appeared at number 5, and it actually went to being the number 1 selling single in the UK and, of course, in America.
So everything in the Green Jellö universe is
stupid.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah. Just pure stupidity. That's it.
When you guys were originally signed to Zoo Records, that even happened in an untraditional manner, meaning the rep never even friggin' heard you guys. Let's talk about this for a second.
Never heard my band, never saw my band, had absolutely no knowledge whatsoever of what I did.
And I'm sure inquiring minds want to know, how exactly did that happen?
I would say aliens. When I first got to town, I was working at a record store. And I told my friends that I drove across America to be on a gang show, to be humiliated, to win these lead press-on nails, to prove I had the world's worst band. Of course, everybody thought I was insane and I was making it up, except for one guy, who later on got a job at a record company. About 2 years later, he messages me and says, "Bill, I'm having lunch at the corner of Sunset and Vine with the president of the record company and the staff. Come by like you haven't seen me, and I'll introduce you to everyone." Hop on my bike, I zoom down there. "Oh my God, Kevin, I haven't seen you since the record store. Oh my God, how are you? Oh yeah, handshakes. Oh yeah, kisses. Oh, this is Lou Malio, the president of the record company. Hi, Lou, how are you doing? Kevin tells me that you have some band." I said, "Yeah, I got Green Jellö, the world's worst band. People throw food at me. I dress up in costumes. People yell that we suck. I drove all the way out from Buffalo, New York to be on the Gong Show. I got gonged to be humiliated to prove I have the world's worst band." He looked at me in complete amazement and said, "How much you need to do your project?" And I said, I need $60,000. And I just blurted out this price because my cousin happened to be selling her house for $60,000 at this point in time. And so I said, $60,000. He picks up his phone and says, "Chris, write Manspeaker a check for $60,000. We just signed Green Jellö." And I got a record deal before they ever heard my band, saw my band, knew anything about my band. On my first handshake, I walked, I left, I came home with $60,000. A year later, I sold 14 million songs.
Well, obviously, the gentleman at the record label knew something.
He said, "We're either going to sell 1 or 1 million.
We also have to talk about the casual music listeners out there, the people that don't dive into music nerdery like Jay and myself do, might not know this next information, but to fans of Green Jellö, this is going to be common knowledge, so I apologize in advance about that. But there is a big connection between Green Jellö and Tool.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I kind of want to talk about that.
Sure, talk all the way, all you want. Danny was in Green Jellö for years and years and years. I had a good friend named Adam who used to come to all my Green Jellö shows, and he was a special effects artist that was working at Stan Winston. He was trying to get me a job over there. And Adam would come over all the time, help me make costumes. One day, his friend from Michigan moved to town, Jim. He brought Jim over and said, "Hey, Jim, this is Bill. Bill, this is Jim. He needs a place to live." I was the guy that always gave somebody a place to live, and he immediately moved in, joined our band, and we had a big giant loft in Hollywood where everybody came over and we played music and we made art and we had parties. And Jim had lived at the loft for a couple months, and he had joined Green Jellö, and he was singing along, playing drums with Maynard and making costumes with Adam, his friend. And one day I came home with this check for $60,000 from a record company, and Maynard and Adam were home at the loft, and they immediately said, "Hey, let's start our own band." And Maynard and Adam immediately started a band called Tool. And the first song that they wrote was called Maynard's Dick, which they wrote right then in front of me. And I was going to throw a big party with all the money that I made. And Maynard said, "Okay, can my band play at the party?" I said, "You don't have a band." He says, "Well, I'm going to make up one for the party." And I said, "Sure." So we got Danny to play drums, and this guy, Paul Demore, was over playing video games, and he got him to play bass. And next thing you know, they're playing my party, the week after. And the record company saw them and signed them also. So all of a sudden, all my friends had about $250,000, and we were signed to these major record deals. And we did the best that we could, and we focused, and we put all of our effort into one area, and both of our bands won. And now, whatever it is, 20, 30 years later, they're probably one of the biggest bands in the world.
Also, if you go back to the beginnings of Tool, didn't they record their debut EP at your loft or your apartment?
Yes, at the Green Jellö loft, the live songs for Opiate were recorded there on New Year's Eve. In fact, all those songs off of Opiate and Undertow were all written at the Green Jellö loft during a period of time where we all lived together. So I know what most of the songs are talking about and who they're based upon. And pretty much the third record too, but that was kind of broken up into a little piece that was wrote. But yeah, all those songs, those beginning Tool songs, were all written at the Green Jellö loft, all with the same group amount of people.
And then the last fact that the music nerds like me and the Green Jellö fans obviously know, but the average music listener might not. Maynard plays a role in Three Little Pigs.
Yes, he sings the "Not by the Hair of My Chinny Chin Chin" part. It was Maynard's first gold record of probably about 20 now. So it was his first official hit was Three Little Pigs that he sang on.
And that's something that not everybody knows. I think that's a fantastic little nugget there of musical knowledge.
Yeah, it's hilarious, isn't it?
That can end up on Jeopardy one day, and that'd be one of the only questions I got right.
The guy who sings in the greatest band in the world is also the singer in the worst band in the world.
Is the Tool Green Jellö connection still strong?
I played with them about maybe 3 years ago. They did a show here in Hollywood, 2 shows at a place called the Greek Theater, and I came out and I did the encore song with Maynard, and we did Three Little Pigs.
Awesome.
For 2 nights in a row in front of 14,000 people. And then I just saw them a couple weeks ago in Prague, the Czech Republic. I saw a Tool on June 5th. They were playing a concert there, and we were living in Prague doing a bunch of touring. And I saw on Facebook that they were playing, and I messaged Danny, and he sent me a message back for me to just meet him outside around 8:30. But, the last time I saw a Tool was like, 2005, 2003, I don't know, really super long time ago. So I show up at this friggin' arena with 20,000 people trying to find Danny, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Things have changed since the last time I saw him, where they played in front of, 1,000 people. So I'm wandering this gigantic arena trying to find him, and some strange man came up to me and said, "Are you Bill Manspeaker?" And I looked at him and said, "How did you know?" He goes, "Danny said, look for the guy with the alien tattooed on his head wearing the boots and the glasses." He goes, "And you were the only one." And then he immediately grabbed me and brought me directly backstage where there was Tool just sitting there hanging out with their kids. And the next thing I know, I was drinking their Red Bulls.
So going back to Three Little Pigs, that's the song that really propelled the band into the mainstream eye. That video is an iconic MTV music video, something that the claymation, everything that was put together. Talk about how that all came together, because you did a lot of the production work on that video.
Oh, yeah. I produced and I directed all the videos. That particular video, at the time I was working at this place called E! Entertainment Television. And I was looking for a film camera that would take one frame at a time. And I was asking my cameraman friend. And he said, oh, my next door neighbor has one. I could introduce you to him. I said, oh, great. So I go over to his house, and the kid's in 12th grade. He's in high school. He's got a one-frame camera. And I said, hey, I want to do this claymation video. Here's the storyboard. Do you think you could pull it off? And he's like, yeah, sure I can. And I gave him $2,000. And over the next couple of weekends, he just pulled his dad's car out of the garage, and he filmed it in the garage of the car as a high school student. So when he finally handed it in a couple of weeks later, he only had about like a minute and a half of footage, and it was a 6-minute video. So I had to slow things down and double up some stuff and patch it up a little bit. But in the end, I made the minute and a half video, filling a 6.5 minute, hole. And he wound up being a big famous director just literally out of high school. And that was his first music video he ever did. And then he did Tool Sober right after that. And then he did a Danzig video and a Sepultura video, and things happened.
That's quite the roster of videos to come in right out of high school with.
Yeah, right.
Some kids don't even know what class they want to take in college.
Yeah. This guy gets it stumbled on him because his next door neighbor, is at work and somebody needs a one-frame camera, and he just happened to have it. Talk about right place at the right time, right?
Yeah, there you go. So Cereal Killer, the VHS quote-unquote movie that inspired the Cereal Killer soundtrack, which is what all the songs are from, included videos for each of the album's tracks. Being your first major label release, because you did have some EPs and other albums that were done before being signed to Zoo. What was that creative process like, and what was the challenge of doing that, being your first major label effort?
Well, the challenge was actually doing it because, lying about doing it was really easy. I just simply told this gigantic fish story where not only did I have the world's worst, crappiest band, but that I could also make 11 music videos for a super cheap price of $60,000. And the reality was I was just talking out my ass. I didn't know how to make any videos. I worked at E! Entertainment Television, as a runner. Hey, somebody needed coffee or a donut. I was the guy that got it. But somehow I elaborated on my job and made it sound like I was some sort of video producer, director, whatever it was, to get the money. And then all of a sudden I got the money, and I'm like, realized like, oh, fuck, I got to do this shit now. And so I went and, I got 11 music videos to do. The first one I start off is a song called Cereal Killer. And it literally took me 2 months. 2 months of filming, 2 months of lighting, 2 months of editing, 2 months of stress. By the end of it, I thought I was going to fucking die. And I still had 10 more to go. And I was like, oh, fuck my life. What was I doing? Why did I tell these people that I could do this? I hate this. Oh, my God. And so finally, it just came to this choice. Is like, I could no longer hopefully just make all these music videos on the weekend with my friends, that I would have to actually quit my job and focus and actually do this. So on March 17th, 1992, I quit my job. And every day, all I did, every day, nonstop, was I shot videos, I lit videos, I edited videos, I directed videos, I produced videos. By the end of June, I had made 11 music videos. And the last one that I made, I shot it in the morning and I edited it in the afternoon, and it was done by the end of the day. And that was called Electric Harley House of Love. So now I had all my videos, except for one. Three Little Pigs was missing. because they were still animating it. So I hand them all in. Record company president calls the whole office in, like 50 people, forces them to watch 50 minutes of shitmen and cow gods and tripping on ecstasies. And after it was all done and over, it was complete fucking silence. Not a clap, not a laugh, not a yoo-hoo, nothing. And I proudly and I boldly said, I got one more. I got one more. One more. It'll be ready in a couple days. And that was it. And it just went, like there was no hoorah. And they didn't care I had one more. So I called up the guy. I was like, dude, man. I said, oh, he was fucking blue. This is it. We got the last one, man. You got it ready? He's like, no, I'm nowhere near ready. Like, how much more did you got? Hey, you got a minute and a half. A minute and a fucking half. Fuck my life. So I took that minute and a half and I stretched that motherfucker so long, so hard. And I brought it into the record company and I threw it in there. I said, this is it. This is it. This is the one. Totally looked at me like I was completely nuts. Press play. And by the end of it, he was like, that's your motherfucking hit song, Willie. This is your million. You fucking did it. And within months, 14 million. Generated over $25 million within 1 year.
And I could say that my money's part of that bunch, so you're welcome in that.
Thank you. Thank you for me not having a job since 1992.
Well, there you go. For me, being the music nerd that I was all the way growing up, Cereal Killer was one of those redefining musical moments because it was my sense of humor at the time, based with heavy music that I loved. One of the tracks on there was a cover of my favorite Sex Pistols song, Anarchy in the UK.
I still play that song.
As you should. And as I was growing up, I enjoyed the hell out of the Flintstones.
We've been doing that song since 1984.
So I have to ask, I've read articles about the band over the years, and I've heard a story that there was an episode of the Flintstones that inspired the band to become a band.
Kind of. I mean, I was very much influenced by the Flintstones to have a band, correct. But I would say it was more of the Sex Pistols plus Kiss plus the Flintstones.
And that, dear writers, is where the musical mashup was born.
Yeah. It was just everything that I was exposed to as a child in the 60s and the 70s, all farted out into the 80s.
So got a couple of serious topics to talk about here, believe it or not.
Sure.
Obviously, the music industry is a business. And in the middle of Three Little Pigs blowing up, you guys received a cease and desist because of the name, Green Jellö.
Correct.
Forcing you to change it to Green Jellÿ, even though with the umlaut over the Y, it's still Jell-O, but I'm going to digress there. What was it like dealing with that kind of controversy at the height of this song blowing up?
It was everything that I had hoped it to be. My ultimate plan was not only to be the worst band in the world, but to also disturb the Jell-O company, that they would come after me, and then that would just push me up into the stratosphere, level of just like, the underdog being attacked by, the big brother. So, it was something that I had hoped to happen. And of course, it fell right into my plan. And it was kind of humorous how it all came to be. We had just gotten signed. We had just handed in the record. And, they knew they had something with the Three Little Pigs. And there was this thing going on in New York City at the time called the New Music Seminar. It was a big convention where all the record companies all flew to New York City and all these bands played and everybody did blah, 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 blah. So the record company sent us to the New Music Seminar to get some press, to get some TV, to get some sort of action. So they put us out, to be in the schedule of the play. And of course they didn't want us to play. And then they put us out for interviews. Nobody wanted to interview us. Nobody wanted to be bothered with us. It was the 90s. It was grunge. It was Nirvana. It was Stone Temple Pilots. There was no room for jackass Jell-O. So completely disturbed and no luck at all. The only place that's going to have us is this public access channel called Screw Magazine Show, and it's a porn show on the porn channel. The only place that's going to have us, and only because one of my friends, as a childhood friend, works there, and she got us in there. So we go on there, and I'm dressed up as shit, man, and they're interviewing us, blah, 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 blah. Things over, complete failure. We're all leaving, discouraged. As it's airing, as the story goes, according to the newsletter that we got, or the notice that we got, a lawyer for the Kraft General Foods Company was channel surfing, and he happened to stop off at the porn channel where a figure named Shitman was representing the Jell-O brand product. And that for us to immediately cease and desist any action of any sort of Shitman being associated with their product. And whatever it is, decades later, the emoji Shitman is a $1 billion thing. And of course, Bill Cosby got in all kinds of trouble. So they were just wasting their time with me, but they fell into my trap, and I got all that free publicity, and I sold 14 million records. So ha ha ha.
Yeah, so it definitely goes to prove that no publicity is bad publicity.
Right, exactly. And you know what? And on that same day, as we left discouraged from the porn magazine show, the only interview we had, and we're walking down friggin' Madison Avenue in New York City with our costumes, what building do we pass? Marvel Comics.
No, you didn't.
So, in our never break spirit, we said, fuck it, put on the costumes, let's walk on in, see what's going to happen. And of course, they thought we were supposed to be there. So they fucking sent us right up on the elevator, and next thing I know, I'm in the main comic book room where they're fucking writing Spider-Man.
What?
And I mean Stan Lee and all the fucking artists there.
Oh my God.
And next thing you know, we're all taking pictures and blah, blah, blah. And I'm inside fucking Stan Lee's office, and I'm pitching him, hey, we can make this song for your new Spider-Man character, Carnage. We'll call it Carnage Rules. And next thing you know, I'm fucking writing a Marvel song with Stan Lee for the new Spider-Man comic.
I did not know that.
We were just walking down the street because nobody would talk to us. And we happened to pass Marvel Comics with the costumes. You're like, fuck it. Let's go in and try.
That is a hell of a story.
And I guess the moral of that story is you'll never know unless you pick up the phone and try.
The more you do, the more chances you have of succeeding. You're just going to sit around and contemplate all the odds of failing. I could tell you 99 reasons why I cannot sell a record. But I'll give you one reason how I can sell 15 million records.
I'm waiting.
Because I stayed focused at the 1% chance of winning, and I did not allow the 99 reasons of why not to enter the arena to discourage me from the goal that I was set out to do.
Bill, can you come work for me for a little while and kind of inspire my crew to do the same thing?
It works for me. I've used this attitude since I quit my job in '92. I don't work. I get on planes. I fly to exotic places. I play amazing concerts. I meet amazing musicians. I have a wonderful family life. I don't waste my life going to a place that I hate. And the only reason I don't do that is because I didn't listen to all those naysayers. Oh, you don't have any musical talent. Come on. If you're going to be in a band, you got to at least be able to sing. There was common sense stuff that I wasn't even listening to. And this is reality stuff. Again, I'm not making the part up about me having no musical ability. I don't know how the fuck I pulled this off. But somehow I'm on a jukebox. Somehow I'm on the Billboard Hot 100 list. Somehow I'm on the Grammy list. I don't know. I blame the aliens.
You were also on Kellogg's list because they were pretty pissed off about the Toucan Sam Snack Crackle Pop and Lucky Leprechaun murders.
Yeah. Like all that had happened was the first one to come. Jell-O, and then the rest of them all came, and then all of a sudden everybody was ripping apart my video, picking on me, just being complete jackasses. And the only people that were really cool about it was Hanna-Barbera, who controlled Flintstones, and all that. Make a couple of minor adjustments on the Anarchy and Bedrock video, a couple of questionable C's of the puppets, and of course I said yes. And they said, you help us, we'll help you. And next thing you know, I'm pitching cartoons to the president of Hanna-Barbera. They're calling me in for secret meetings. I'm doing other soundtracks for other, cartoon projects. I'm doing editing and production stuff for them. So, not all of it was, is aggressive. Not all of it was change your name or we're taking your money. Some of it was, maybe if you fix this, you help us, we'll help you. So, a lot of good things came out of, having taken a lot of, risks, Yeah,
of course. Without risk, there's no reward.
Yeah, that's true.
And you would think that these two instances could be considered parody and satire. Isn't that accurate?
Well, yeah, that's correct. Back in 1993, the parody law was just being passed literally in the summer of 1993. So this was something that we were all debating. But even though the law had just passed, nobody had gone against it and made the restraints or the limitations or, made a case against it. And so it was decided that if we took that route, and went with the parody thing, that it was just really going to cost us a lot of money. It was all pocket. The record company was willing to put up all the money that I needed to fight it, but mathematically, I would have just wound up with nothing, and I'd be working at the Walmart right now.
And pick and choose your battles, right?
Yeah. So I would much rather call it Jellÿ and not have a job than call it Jell-O and be working at Walmart.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So there was one other instance with that album because it did bring with it a lot of controversy. I'm going to go back to a band that I'm sure you've heard of. They're called Scatterbrain. They had an album out that had a song on it called Down with the Ship. And that song included tons of riffs done in a satirical nature. The first time I heard Electric Harley House of Love, I assumed the same thing went for Enter Sandman and it would have fallen under the same category,
right,
based on the lyrics you sang immediately after the solo section.
Right.
So I have to ask, what brought up that instance with Elektra and Metallica and the whole nine yards with that song?
Well, it came to be like, we had the hit song and they were looking for a second single. And we had, stolen the Metallica riff. And so the record company actually contacted Metallica and asked them if they wanted to be in the video. And they said, oh, sure, we like Green Jellö. We'd love to be in the video. Send us the song. And they sent the song, and then they heard the riff that we stole. And then they told us no, and that we owed them money.
Oh,
wow.
So they never showed up in the video, and I had to pay them $10,000.
Oh, jeez. But then on subsequent releases, it was edited very well, let me tell you. For the new releases, right, you wouldn't know. But knowing that it is Enter Sandman, you can go back and listen and be like, I see where they cut the guitar there.
Yeah. Yep. $10,000 and fix the song now.
Oh, man.
And no, we're not being in your video.
So you didn't get a duet with Metallica, but you did get one with an unlikely duet, if I might say, with Hulk Hogan on a cover of Gary Glitter's I'm the Leader of the Gang.
That is correct.
That was a top 40 hit in the UK.
Yeah, it was. It was my third hit song in Europe. Third.
There's got to be some interesting Hulkamania stories you have from the Green Jellö universe. How was that all? How did all that go?
Well, it was real simple. We were selling, again, the whole story about the president of America trying to get the England president to put out the record. He said no, threw the record out the window. They released it. It wound up being the biggest selling thing, blah, 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 to all their surprise. So they flew me over there, and for like a month, that I was just living in London, and I was on TV shows and radio stations, and I just did all this press every single day. So one day, I'm literally just sitting in the hotel, and I get this call. Hello, Bill Manspeaker there. And I'm like, that's me. "Hi, Bill, this here's Hulk Hogan." I'm like, "All right. Hi, Hulk. I'm in town doing a wrestling show. Real big fan of your band. I don't know if you've known, but I used to play bass. I was in a band a long time ago. Anyways, I want to record a new song with you. I'm going to send out a limo, pick you up, bring you to the show. We're going to party afterwards. We'll talk about it after the show." Like, Hulk Hogan, you're sending the limo, you're picking me up, and we're going to party, right? Yeah. I said, "Okay, yeah, sure." So I hang up the phone, and I've been in England for a month. I've seen these candid camera shows where they set up people and make them look like asses. So fine, you want to put me on one of these shows? I'll play hard. No problem. Hulk Hogan's coming to get me. Yeah. So I'm waiting. All of a sudden, ring, "Mr. Manspeaker, your limo's downstairs." I'm like, "Fuck, all right, let's do this." Get in the limo, no Hulk Hogan. I was like, "All right, I got you fuckers. I know what's going on. Ain't no Hulk Hogan in this limo." Also, we pull up the Wimbledon Stadium, doors open, we go inside, there's 100,000 fucking people, cheering. Door opens up, fucking Hulk Hogan's on the other side. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And his hands out, like, "Shake my hand, let me get you out of the limo." So I shook his hand, he pulls me out. "All right, Bill, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go out in the back, go to party. We're going to get back here. We're going to go to Planet Holly. We're going to party like fucking madman." All right, cool. Boom, he goes out of the mat. He wins. The whole place erupts. Hops in the limo. Now I'm sitting in the limo with fucking, Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker and, all these fucking wrestling legends. And we're zooming off to Planet Hollywood in fucking London. And next thing I know, I'm at this big giant buffet. We're eating and drinking and doing drugs and partying. And next thing I know, Simon Cowell from American Idol fucking appears. He's like, "I'm going to be producing your new record with Hulk. How you doing? All right." And next thing you know, I'm in the recording studio with Hulk Hogan, Simon Cowell from American Idol, and my dumbass. We're recording some new hit song in a video. And there you go.
Actually, I would have never put Simon Cowell in that picture. That
Right?
just
Even crazier, right? Simon Cowell and me. Okay? All right, Bill, let's do that. Let's do that again one more time. Come on. Let's see it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Come on. No, Bill, hang on, Bill. Try to sing it on key. What's on key? All right, here we go. Come on. Stop.
So the big question here is Hulk Hogan or Simon Cowell, two of the 900 current band members?
Yes, they are. Of course they are. You don't escape being in Green Jellö.
Once you're in, you're in, right?
You're in, man. You're in. It's like Lay's potato chips.
So outside of the Green Jellö universe, you've also done a lot of stuff within music videos, including Weird Al's Jurassic Park claymation video.
Oh my God, yes I did. That's amazing. Good for you.
You also did some stuff with Manson, Tupac. How did all those things come out of the Green Jellö kind of stratosphere there?
Well, all of a sudden, I literally had millions of dollars. So I went out and I spent $946,000 on video production equipment one day. And I bought editing bays and television cameras and lights and sound stages and everything that you can imagine, animation studios, graphics. And I opened up my own production company. And for 5 years in a row, all I did was make music videos for bands and commercials and television shows. And I was working at E! Entertainment Television until March 17th, 1992, and I was making $300 a week. Now my job that was paying me $1,200 a month is now paying me $6,000 a month to come over and rent my facility. I'm doing nothing. I just got a pay increase 5 times the amount, and I'm doing nothing. So for 5 years, all I did was make other people's music videos and their production stuff, and just a lot of like TV commercials, TV shows, and music just for Hollywood in general.
And then following that,
Yes.
I'm telling you, man, this story is so interesting to me in so many levels. In 1997, you met the legendary Doc McGee, who, to people that saw Motley Crue's movie The Dirt on Netflix, knows who we're talking about. But beyond managing Motley Crue, he managed Bon Jovi, Skid Row, and the Scorpions, a lot of the big 80s bands.
Yeah, all the 80s bands.
Yeah, somehow meeting him connected Green Jellö and Kiss for their 1997 reunion tour?
Yes, Doc was one of my partners in my production company. I met him through Lou Malia, the president of my record company, and we instantly became friends. And Doc set up his whole agency right inside Green Jellö. And one day he said, I just got a call from Gene Simmons. He wants me to go meet him and Paul. And they want to talk about this Kiss reunion thing. And so he went and had lunch with them. He came back with Gene and Paul and brought him to Green Jellö. I showed him around. And then from that moment in time, Peter, Gene, Ace, Paul, the entire Kiss crew and Doc McGee were at my building every single day for at least 8 months. And all I did every day is I produced Kiss videos and photo shoots, and we set up tours and rehearsals, and the entire launch of the Kiss reunion tour in the mid-90s was all done at Green Jellö 100%.
And obviously that was a massive tour.
Oh, yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, yeah, nonstop. I was supposed to be part of that whole thing. I was supposed to be the director to the live video, but at that point in time, my 24-year-old son, now he was just born, so I didn't want to be that dad, so I just passed on the Kiss thing, and I just stuck with the production company thing. But yeah, they've been on tour since the day they left my office in 1997.
Well, after that, there was a bit of a hiatus for Green Jellö, and you went and owned and operated the Qtopia Hollywood nightclub, and you did other ventures for several years.
From 95 to 2000, I owned the production company. And from 2000 to 2005, I owned the largest rave club in Los Angeles. I had the very first legal electronic dance club. That was back when it used to be done in warehouses and stuff and all illegally. I spent $2 million and I got permits in a building, and I started the first electronic music scene in Los Angeles, which is now the biggest music scene that there is in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Now, moving from that, what I also thought was interesting was that your son, of all people, was what led you back to the Green Jellö machine.
Right, yeah. When he was 13 years old, which was 2008, I asked him what he wanted to do for his summer vacation, and he said, let's put the band back together and go out on tour. So from 2008 till now, which is 11 years, I've been doing it nonstop. He's now 24, and he lives in China. And he is a teacher. He teaches theater in China to little children.
Awesome. So fast forwarding into the 2010 area here, you guys did a bunch of shows with the Insane Clown Posse,
Correct.
Including several of the Gathering of the Juggalos events. I'm curious, how did the Juggalo crowd embrace the band, and was there any pause on your part, given the negative press that ICP received over the last 10 years?
All I gotta say is the Juggalos are an amazing group of people. Whatever hype that there is out about them is just a bunch of bullshit. It's just a bunch of kids and young adults dressed up in clown makeup, having a good time singing songs. It's really nothing like they make it seem to be like anything else. And the whole Juggalo community just really embraces our band. We've always had an amazing experience with the Juggalos, and the Insane Clown Posse is one of the greatest bands that I ever hated in my entire life.
So we talk a lot about streaming music versus the physical medium.
Right.
And Green Jellö really started with the physical medium, the VHS tapes, the cassettes. I mean, we're going all the way back, with your original demos. And now on your Facebook page, you guys list that between 2010 and present, you've sold over 1 million songs on iTunes. So I'm curious, from someone who's been on both sides of that spectrum, how does digital compare to the physical, tangible CD and record sales to you, the artist?
Well, what I did and what everyone else did for the last 80 years is we all signed these contracts. Every single one of us signed these contracts with this clause on it that said future technology rights.
Oh.
And it gave us a really super low percentage rate.
Of course.
And for the last 50, 60, 70 years, it was laughed upon. And because all there was records, there was cassettes, there was 8-tracks, anything else was a pipe dream.
Right.
And so now you don't have to press a record. You don't have to ship a record. You don't have to do nothing. You buy the record and it's digitally downloaded for $1. They pay the artist 1/10 of 1 penny, and then they keep the rest. So out of that 1 million songs that I sold on iTunes, I got $10,000, while the record company got $990,000.
Wow.
So every time that you hear that when you steal from the internet, you steal from the artist, that is the greatest lie that was ever created by the music industry, to make you feel guilty into buying their CD that they stole from the artist. And they're going to keep all that money. You weren't stealing from the artist. You were stealing from their hooker and cocaine account. The artist never gets that money. They had this technology in the 50s. They just didn't have everybody in the world applying to it. And they knew that someday they would. And so they got all these chumps to sign away all their rights. So now these record companies, they don't have to pay nobody anything. And the fractions of the money that they pay them is nothing. And they don't got to manufacture. They don't got to distribute. They don't have to do anything. It's all a download.
All right. Well, this has been awesome. I know you got the kids around, you got a lot going on, but we do have one very, very
quite important question.
What do we have to do
to be in Green Jellö? How do we get in on that?
Oh, that's easy. Where do you live?
We're in New Jersey.
Cool. I have some shows in your area in August, and we'll make sure that you play them.
Hell yeah, that's what we're talking about, brother.
It's really that easy.
Bill Manspeaker.
Yes, sir.
Green Jellö. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a blast.
Oh, you're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
I wasn't kidding when I said this was a fascinating interview. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And once again, if you like what you're hearing on My Weekly Mixtape, you can help me out by either telling a friend about the show, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a part of the Patreon Mixtaper community at patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. There you'll find ad-free episodes of the show, gain immediate access to future My Weekly Mixtape episodes, hear exclusive bonus banter clips, chime in on upcoming show topics, become a future guest, and so much more. Once again, that's patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. That's all for this week. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, enjoy the tunes.